Hey there, crafty friends. It's Tina from the Scrappin Rabbit blog. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. In today's video, we're going to be creating 2 cards featuring the Scrappy Tales Crafts, Oopsie Daisy 6x6 stamp sets, and the Whimsical Layering Daisies die. This die set, you get several different sized florals as well as the centers and a couple stems. And we are going to be using the sentiments from the Oopsie Daisy stamp set. There's some great ones in this set. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is grab some white cardstock and the dies, and I'm going to run it through my Spellbinders Platinums cutting machine. And I'm going to run it through a couple times. It works best, especially because I have all of the flowers still together. Keeping the cuts in place, I'm going to grab my tiny little blending brush and I'm going to use some Villainous Potion oxide inks. At this point, I'm not really sure what I'm going to be creating, and so I'm just wanting to add a little bit of color to the center of the flowers, and it helps to have them being held in place by that cardstock. For the flower centers, I am going to color them using my Copics, and those are the colors shown there. So the darkest is the YR24, and then I'm going to just do one at a time there and try to get them all done at the same go around, blending out with the YR23. Once I get that layer down, I'll blend out with the Y21, and then the lightest color is the Y11. And if you want, you can go over a second time with the color, but I really love the dimension it adds. I'm using some liquid glue to just add those centers to the florals, and I think that they turned out so pretty. I did color several flowers there. I did use some purple Distress Oxide inks as well as the Spun Sugar and the Squeezed Lemonade. I wasn't really sure what I was creating yet, so I just created a bunch of florals. So for the stems, I'm going to also use my Copic markers and going in with the darkest color, the YG67, blending that out with the YG63, and lastly adding the lightest color, the YG11, and I did that to a bunch of stems as well. Once I finished coloring all of the stems, I needed to plan out my card design. So I wanted to create a background that had stripes, so I'm using this flat brush with some Distress ink refill and a little bit of water, and I'm just going over some multimedia cardstock and left to right just painting some stripes across my paper. I've never done this before, but I do have pattern paper that has these stripes, but they were in black and I wanted them in colors. So next I'm going to do the peacock feathers for my second color. I don't end up using this background, but I do love the way that it turned out, and I will use it for a future project. So I'm just lightly brushing over across the top, trying to avoid any puddles, and just, using the brush to dab off any concentration of ink there. And once I get that done, I grab my last color, which is the shaded lilac, and the one that I really thought turned out the best. So again, just doing light strokes across the top and not really caring that the lines are a little swervy or a little crooked, because I'm looking for that painted look. And just going across the top and the bottom of the cardstock I think looks better, but just dabbing off some of that extra ink and just lightly continuing the brushing motion to remove any excess and puddles so that it has a nice smooth finish. So I let them dry for a few minutes, and I think they look so cute, but just for extra measure, I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it just a little bit, because I'm going to be heat embossing this sentiments. I prepped the paper with my anti-static embossing powder, and I'm going to use some VersaFine black ink. I'm going to ink it twice, and look at how cute that sentiment is. I'm going to use some clear embossing powder, shake it off, and then use my heat tool to melt that down. I accidentally forgot to film that, but you're going to see me do it again here with this layer, the pink layer. Again, the anti-static powder tool, inking it up with the VersaFine, and then grabbing my clear embossing powder and tapping it off, heating up my heat tool nice and hot, and that is where the magic happens. I love the look of an embossed sentiment, and I think that the panels turned out so cute. I'm using some top folding A2 size card bases and some liquid glue. I'm going to add lots of glue on the back of that panel before I do my flowers so that way I can smooth it out and set it under my block to dry nice and flat. This cardstock is really thick because it is a multimedia cardstock, so it's not warping from the glue, but depending upon how thick your layers are, sometimes liquid glue can warp them a little bit. After they're dried, it's time to put the flowers on the card, and I'm just messing around with the arrangement because again, I'm not really sure of the design just yet, but I did pick out 3 of the larger sized florals for my cards. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue down the stems, but one of the stems was a little on the thin side. It was kind of bending, so I added a second white layer for reinforcement. That's the only one that I needed to do that to, but I didn't want it to go to waste, so there you go. I'm putting that stem down with that liquid glue and just kind of eyeballing the flower where it needs to go. And for this card, I'm using the florals that I use the Villainous Potion Purple Oxide inks, lightly inked, and I think that it really coordinates well with the Shaded Lilac Distress ink striped background. So just gluing that side daisy there, and then the last stem is a little on the long side, so I trim it. And so that's something you can do. You can trim whatever you need to for your card design, and placing that last floral, it really is so cute. So now that I know the design, I can go ahead and repeat it on my pink card. I stamped 2 different sentiments, and I think they're just so cute. So one's for a belated birthday, and the other one is a thinking of you type of card. Definitely cards that I need in my stash. So getting these florals glued down with my liquid glue. The second one goes along really quickly since I already know where everything is going to go. So now that I have my florals together, it is time to add some bling. I have these pink gemstones. They are adhesive, but I do like to use the liquid glue because I don't trust that the adhesive is going to stay, and I don't want it to come apart in the envelope. So just putting them out, I have some iridescent ones for the purple one, and I'm just laying out where I want them to go, but I am going to glue them down using my liquid glue. So it's a little tricky sometimes because the adhesive makes it difficult to use my little picker tool, but it went pretty quickly. I got them where I needed them to go. Just a little splash of bling, and that is going to complete both of my cards. I love how the stripes coordinate so well with the daisies, and you can really just custom color anything that you need to. So look at the finished card. It's just so darn cute. I'm not sure which one I like more. I am partial to purple, so I do think I like the purple one the best, but the pink one is just so cute as well. So I think they turned out darling. I hope you liked my video. Thank you so much again for stopping by the channel. All of the products that I used are listed and linked in the description box below. And I did want to mention that I got a sneak peek at the June release, and you guys, it is crazy amazing. So stay tuned for projects upcoming with the new summer release. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic day, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye for now.